is sacred trust. But what about the how? What's the most effective way to teach? Well, it turns out it's not about what we say, it's about something way more powerful.
The key idea is captured in this amazing term, Lisana Hal, which basically means the language of your state of being. Kids are just incredible observers, aren't they? They learn so much more from who we are than from what we say. Our sincerity, our actions, our character, that's the real lesson they're soaking up every single day.
This chart makes it so clear. On one side, you have the language of words, telling a child to be truthful or to pray. But on the other side, you have the language of being, actually being truthful, praying with genuine focus where they can see you, reading scripture with real emotion. It's the difference between instruction and transmission. Our example is the most powerful sermon they will ever witness.
All right, section 3, a sensitive upbringing. So we've covered the why and the how when it comes to our own example. But now, let's get really practical. How do we introduce these massive ideas to a tiny mind? The absolute key is to be gentle and age-appropriate.
So here are 4 really practical steps for early childhood. First, making the first intentional word they learn, Allah. Second, constantly connecting everyday blessings back to their source. When they're eating, mentioning the one who provides. When it rains, talking about who sends the rain. Third, and this one is so important, always lead with love, not fear. Introduce the Creator as the source of all mercy and kindness. And finally, bring in practices like prayer gently through your example, never by force, because that can just create resentment down the line.
I think this analogy is just perfect. You wouldn't try to feed a baby a steak dinner, right? In the same way, we don't start with heavy, complex theology. We start with the most essential nutrient of all, the feeling of being loved by a merciful and kind Creator.
Okay, section 4. Shaping the environment. Now, as a child gets older, our role starts to shift a little. We go from being their main world to becoming the architects of their wider world. And that's because we know just how deeply a child is shaped by everything and everyone around them.
And the idea of environment here is huge. It's not just the home, it's their school, it's their friends, it's the books they read, the shows they watch, it's even the everyday places they go. So the big question for us as parents becomes, are all these different parts of their world helping to reinforce the values we're trying to instill? A really important part of this is cultivating what's called shi'ayot hurma, which basically means showing reverence for the symbols of our faith. And this isn't just about following rules, it's about creating an atmosphere where the sacred is respected. This external respect is seen as a beautiful reflection of an internal state of piety or taqwa.
And you can build this in really simple, everyday ways. How we handle sacred texts in our home. Pausing for just a moment when we hear the call